Okay, so we're going to start to balance some chemical reaction equations. So I'm going to show you in this video how to balance with these three different methods, and then I'll have some other videos where they're just these specific methods separate. Okay. All right, so method one is kind of geared towards more of the visual learners. So you're going to make little circles, diagrams to show what elements that you have. So we'll start with example one here. We have we need to write a balanced chemical equation for the reaction between aluminum and oxygen, which goes and produces aluminum oxide. Start with writing the word equation. So we have aluminum. Okay, we separate the reactants with a plus. Oxygen. Then we put an arrow in to show where the products are. Then we get aluminum oxide. Okay, so the next step will be to write the skeleton equation. Okay, so aluminum, if you just see aluminum, it's just like the element on the periodic table. It's not diatomic, just aluminum. Then you have, I'll leave some space to put in balancing or and state symbols and stuff like that, always. Oxygen, you know, is always a diatomic. So 2, there's the arrow. And again, if you wanted to do some work on the side and go, okay, we know aluminum is a 3 plus charge. We know oxygen is a negative 2 charge. So when they make a compound, we need 2 aluminums to 3 oxygens, or we could do the crisscross thing as well. Okay, so there's our skeleton equation. So again, word equation because we use the chemical names, skeleton equation because we use the chemical formulas. Okay, the next step here is to try to balance the equation by drawing particle pictures. So I'm just going to add the reactants on this side. Okay, this line represents the arrow and the products on this side. Okay, and again, this is the more visual way. I'm just going to draw in the particles underneath each one. So showing here that there's 1 aluminum there, and then here we have a diatomic compound of oxygen where there's 2 oxygens in it, and the product here, aluminum oxide, has 2 aluminums and 3 oxygens. Okay, so we're trying to balance it out. So I'll change this to a different color here. Okay, so I have 2 aluminums on this side, and I only have 1. So I'm going to balance it out by drawing another aluminum. So now I have 2 aluminums, so I'm all happy there, balanced out. Okay, but we have 2 oxygens here and 3 oxygens here. So I need to add another oxygen here to balance it out. But if I do that, all the oxygens on this side are always paired. So that means I have to bring another oxygen, okay, along. So now I have 4 on this side and 3 on this side. So now I'm not balanced again. So then automatically you just go, okay, well, then I'll add another oxygen here. Now I have 4 and 4, but when I did that, that resulted in I had to draw a whole another set of 3 oxygens and 2 aluminums here. Okay, so now I'm going to recount again. I have 4 oxygens here. I have 6 there now, so I have an issue. So we're trying to balance it out. Plus the aluminums are not balanced anymore either. So now I have 4 here, so I need to add a couple more aluminums here. Okay, so now I have 4, I have 4. All right, I have 6 oxygens here, so I need to add another 2 oxygens here. Okay, because now I have 6. So now I'm checking here. So I have 4 aluminums. Yep, I have 6 oxygens on this side, 6 on that side. All right, great. I'm balanced now. So now I can go up to the chemical skeleton equation here and add in the coefficients. So I have 4 aluminums. I have now 3 compounds of oxygen, right? So 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to add 3 of these. And I ended up drawing 2 of these. So there is my balanced chemical equations for aluminum and oxygen using the particle pictures. Here's the next method now, the numerical method. So again, we'll start off with drawing, writing in the skeleton equation here. So our goal here is to try to balance this chemical equation. So if you are not a visual person, you don't like drawing all these extra pictures up here, this is another way that you can go about doing it. So what you're going to do here is you're going to just kind of tally up underneath how many of each item that you have here. So right now we know we have 1 aluminum. Okay, so you have 1 aluminum. Okay, and then the oxygen, you have 2 of those. And then over here we're going to tally up that there's 2 aluminums and 3 oxygens, okay? But just keep in mind that this is 1 clump of items. So now we're going to go through and balance. Change the pen color here. Okay, so we have 2 aluminums and 1 aluminum. So this is the numerical method. So you're just going to multiply out by a factor to make it the same. So I'm going to multiply this by 2. So now the aluminums are balanced. So we're like, okay, this is good. All right, so then when we get over here to the oxygens, we have 2 here and we have 3 here. Again, we need to get them to the same number, but we have an issue here where this is an odd number, that's an even number. So whenever you see a scenario like that, just multiply by a value so they both multiply up to the same number here. So I'm looking at like 6 would work. So if I multiply that by 3 and this by 2, we'll get 6 oxygens here and 6 oxygens here. Okay, so that's good for the oxygens, but whenever we do that on this side here, we're going to find that if you multiply this by 2, you have to multiply this by 2 as well. Okay, and if you do that, you end up with now 4 aluminums to take care of. So then we have to go back over here and go, okay, well, there's 2 right now, so I need to multiply this also by 2. Okay, so now I have 4 aluminums, 6 oxygens, 6 oxygens. So then now I'm going to go through and balance my chemical equation. So here the aluminum I needed to multiply by 4. So I'm going to write 4 here. Here the oxygen I needed to multiply by 3. So the 3 goes there. Here I needed to multiply this whole compound by 2. So then the 2 goes there. Okay, and now it's balanced using the numerical method. Here's the next method, method number 3. It's the guess and check method. So again, we'll start off with our initial skeleton equation. So we have aluminum reacts with oxygen and makes aluminum oxide. Okay, so the guess and check method, sorry, all you simply do is you just kind of scan across and go, okay, there's 2 aluminums here, so I'm going to simply just put a 2 in front of here to balance it out. Okay, so you're just kind of throwing some numbers in, checking, okay, that works. Now let's look at the oxygen. We have 2 here, but we have 3 here, so we have a problem here. So it's kind of like the numerical method. You're going to multiply these by a number so that they come out to being the same. So if I multiply, like let's try to get these both to 6, multiply this by 3, that makes it 6. So for me to get this oxygen to 6, I need to multiply this whole thing by 2. So I have 6 oxygens, but now I have 4 aluminum, so then I need to go over here, erase this and change this to a 4 to balance it out. And now we're balanced. So ideally, I'd like you guys to actually get to this guess and check method, but to practice at first, if you need to use some other methods, that works as well. Balance your chemical reaction equation, just take that extra step at the end to make sure that everything is balanced. So a lot of students will write out the different elements underneath, aluminum, oxygen, and then kind of do a running total, like, okay, we got 4 over here. Okay, so we got 4 over here, and we got 6 over here. So, and then let's check this side. We have 4 aluminums over on this side, and we have 6 on this side. Okay, so it's all balanced out. We know that this, is the final balance chemical equation. Okay, so from here, just decide which method that you like the best. I'll try all 3 and try to balance example number 2 here now. Example number 2, we have aluminum oxide with calcium creates calcium oxide and aluminum. So that's the word equation. So let's get to the skeleton equation. So again, even if you have to do a little bit of work before you actually get to your final equation, it's okay to do that. So, you know, aluminum has a 3 plus charge, oxide, -2. So when they crisscross, you get aluminum oxide, like that, okay? And then we have calcium here. Remember, if it's just the metal, you just write the element, calcium, okay? Don't write any subscripts or anything. Okay, then we get to the products. So again, calcium has a 2 plus charge. Oxygen has a -2 charge. So when you combine them, it's a 1-to-1 ratio, right? Crisscross 2, 2, and it just becomes 1, 1. And then we have aluminum. Okay, so from here, I want you to try to balance. So use whatever method that you like. I'll show you with all 3 methods, I guess. So here we have, I'm going to do the particle method. I'm going to draw all the little, so if you don't even have to draw the circles if it's annoying. Okay, so there's 2 aluminums, 3 oxygens, then we have 1 calcium. Okay, and then on this side we have 1 calcium stuck to 1 oxygen, and then we have 1 aluminum. Okay, so right now we have 2 aluminums, so let's draw another aluminum here to balance it out. So 2 and 2. The calciums look good, but the oxygens don't. We need 3 oxygens, so I'll add a couple more here. So then I get 3, but that brings along a couple more calciums. Okay, so we have 2 aluminums, 2 aluminums, 3 oxygens, 3 oxygens, but now we have 3 calciums, so I need to draw a couple more calciums here. All right, and then I think we're balanced. Just double check, go back and forth. Yep, looks good. So here I didn't add anything extra, so it's just like there's 1 molecule here. You don't need to write that in. Here we now have 3 calciums that are required to balance this. We have 3 of these guys, 3 calcium oxides, and now we have 3 aluminums. Okay, so then you can just go through and double check. Does that make sense? Yep, okay, it's balanced out. Numeric way as well now. So again, just quickly write in the compounds here. Clean up this 3 here. Okay, so the numeric way, we got a couple aluminums here, attached with 3 oxygens. Calcium, we have 1. Here we have 1 calcium, 1 oxygen, and then just going to put a little bracket there to show it's the 1 compound. So if you change one, you got to change the other. So same with this one here. Okay, so right now, going back and forth here, a couple aluminums. So we need to balance out the aluminums. I'm going to multiply this one up by 2. Okay, so now that we both have 2. Calcium looks good. Oxygen doesn't look good on this side. We need 3, so I'll multiply this by 3. But if I do that, I need to multiply this by 3. So now I have 3 calciums. So balance this one by 3. 3 calciums, 3 calciums, 3 oxygens, 3 oxygens, and 2 aluminums. So all balanced up. So go and balance the equation. So here I didn't multiply it by anything. So it's like there's 1 there, but we don't write it in. This one multiplied by 3. Here we multiply this whole compound by 3. Add a 3. Here we multiply this by 2. There we go. So now it's all balanced. Okay, the other method is just guess and check. So again, start with the skeleton equation here. Okay, so just, you know how I said, try to start with the metals and then get to the non-metals. You can try that. So if you just need somewhere to start. So I'm just going to just use a pencil for this so that it's easy to erase the coefficients if you do make a mistake or you need to change them. So I have 2 aluminums. There's only 1 here, so I'll add a 2 here to balance it out. We have 1 calcium, that's good. Now I'm looking at the oxygens. We have 3 here, we have 1 there. So I need to put a 3 here to make it 3 oxygens, but then that changes the calcium. So add a 3 here, and now we're balanced. So I'm going to try to find some other methods online that might be helpful. But again, if there was one method here that you liked, just go ahead and use it. I hope that you can get to the guess and check method. It's a little faster, but just when you're learning the numeric and the particle methods have always been useful for my former students. So just try those out as well. You can always fall back on one of them too if you're stuck. Okay, we can draw the particle method even though it's longer. But yeah, just make sure practice lots. Always double check that you're doing it right. And anyway, so there's worksheets attached. So just go to those, print them off, and try them out. Okay, thanks.